Hi, welcome to Chris BI. My name is Chris Wagner, and today we're going to be introducing to databases, common objects, and just generally doing a tour of a database. All right? Okay, before we head into that, I want you to go down, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on alerts, or even leave a comment down below about anything you want to know when it comes to databases, working with them, interacting with them. Doing these things helps the channel, helps me grow and build this stuff out. I'd really appreciate it. When we talk about TSQL and working with databases, databases have been around for nearly 50 years. They were a SQL or structured query language was invented in 1974 by Dr. Edgar Codd. Edgar Codd. Edgar Codd? Whatever. Wherever he is. He at IBM. He invented the entire concepts of a relational databases with the help of a number of people at IBM. Prior to that, it was just all unstructured data, right? And there was a real problem when it came to accessing data in a consistent, repeatable fashion. Retrieving it was very difficult. Understanding what was going on with data was really hard, especially with the tools at the time. And that's where we got that's where structured data was born, was to help repeatably allow people to have access to this information in a consistent format. All right, now when it comes to SQL as a whole, there's lots of different flavors of SQL. They're generally all the same when it comes to like core syntax, core language, core verbiage, but you'll find that there's some differences between them. I'm going to be talking about T-SQL, which is Transact SQL, but there's also P-SQL or Postgres, or D-SQL, which is the dynamic SQL. There's a bunch of them that are out there. Really, if you're whatever database you're working in, you'll kind of want to just do a Google search to see what type of SQL is does it use, so you can understand some common syntax or any little idiosyncrasies that you might need to understand when it comes to writing queries. But for the most part, like literally 95 plus, maybe even 99% of the syntax is the exact same, regardless of the SQL platform that you're working in on. So it's a great place to start. But with that background in place, we're going to head in over to my desktop, and we're going to delve into understanding what is it that we're talking about when we talk about working with databases. Okay, so this is our database. I've hopefully you watched my previous video and you're like kind of following along. You've installed SQL Server, you have SQL Management Studio up and running, and you've got the AdventureWorks database attached to it. If you haven't, check out the video that I just published on that. It'll get you right to where we're at. But this is really going to be true of any database, so you can use any of the databases that are out there when it comes to sample databases, or maybe you just have a sample database that you're working at inside your organization. I want to run through some common principles in here. The first one being a server, right? So when you connect in Management Studio, or when you connect in, you first have to identify the server that you're connecting to. In my case, I connect to localhost, and I'm connecting in as my user, and I can connect in and see I maintain the connection. The next thing we have on a server is we have a database. Now, most of the time, you can have many databases on the same server. There are some databases that's not true, but for the most part, you have a server and you have one or many databases on that server. All right. Inside of a database, you have things that are called tables. Think of these as the Excel spreadsheets, right? These are the items that you're accessing. This would be the object. So I'm looking at dim account here. I can easily write a quick select statement by right-clicking and select top 1,000 records. It will generate a query that produces the top 1,000 records of the dim account table. Inside here, you'll see that each table has a number of fields. that exists. Each of these fields makes up this table. It's other a field might be called an attribute. There are a number of different names for it, but generally speaking, these are the things that are that make up a table inside of a database. We can also expand the definition of the table to go in and look at the columns. Columns would be another name for it. Inside here, we could see each field has a data type. All right, that's assigned to it. Now there are many different data types. I'm just going to list off a couple. We'll look at what is inside of the dim account table, for an example. Right. So the account code alternative key is an integer. Right. So that means it's going to be a number and it's not going to have any decimal points. Okay. Parent account code alternative key also is an integer. Uh, Account description, this can be nvarchar, basically, or a 50, which basically means it's going to be a text field that could be any length up to 50, right? So if one field, it could be just one field, it could be 50 field or fields long, characters, I'm sorry, not fields, characters long, but that's the account description. And then, if we jump down to customer members, it's the same nvarchar, right? Which is your variable character length of 300. And again, this, allows for, longer or shorter names, but it doesn't lock it into a very specific length. Like you could have a character type, which is like a character 10. So for a field that has to be 10 characters in length, you have a character 10. But this nvarchar, which is very common, allows for that variable length inside there. Now, we are going to jump onto and talk about the next thing, which is a DBO. This is the schema that the table belongs to. Okay, so DBO stands for database object. You can actually create a whole bunch of different schemas. Schemas are really used for grouping, managing, and securing the data. The next thing that we have is primary and foreign keys. In this case, we in the dim accounts table, the primary key is indicated inside the name or inside the definition, and you can see it says PK, which is for primary key, which is a unique identifier of that record inside the database object, right? So there's only one account key number one. There's never going to be multiples of these, right? There's only ever one. It will definitively be unique inside of a SQL database. Uh, and that is what a primary key does. Okay, so it locks in and holds that value. There's some databases that are a little different and handle that stuff differently, but generally speaking, a primary key is a uniquely identified value. Okay. Now, what a foreign key is, and you can actually see parent account key FK or foreign key means that this value in this table relates to the primary key of another table. Okay, so if I'm trying to go from customer to address, I could have a primary key for a customer and a primary key for their address, or I'm sorry, a foreign key for their address. And then when I go over to the address table, I have a primary key on address, so I can join them up and understand how they relate to each other. All right, these primary keys and foreign keys are critical in relating the values inside your database or your database objects to one another. In fact, that's the entire purpose of a relational database, is to join between either system keys, which are these primary keys are identified here, or business keys that may come from source systems, but that's something you can deal with. We'll talk about a little later. But generally speaking, primary key identifies a unique record inside of a table. Foreign key is the reference to another table's unique value. In this case, because we're talking about dim account, this parent account key that we have right here actually relates to the account key in the same table. So it kind of relates to itself, right? So while this account key only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You see no duplicates here. In the parent account key, you actually will see some duplicates, right? So 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 2, 3 goes to 3. Oh, and then 3 goes to 3 again, right? So a foreign key can have a duplicate relationship. So that is completely understandable and acceptable. And then the last thing that exists inside of a database that we're going to go into, and there's lots more, but we're going to try to keep this simple, is there's something called a view. Now, a view is going to be just a query uh, of an object that's out there. And in this case, we can see that inside the views, there are 5 views. We have DBO v target mail. And I'm just going to right click and look at those 10,000 records here to see what's inside of this. And this actually is a great example of it. Now, if I want to understand how this is built, uh, I can actually right click on this and I can go down to one of my favorite things, which is script view as, and then create to and a new query editor window. This is going to create the object for the v target mail. It's going to show me all of the values and how this is created. So I can go through and I can see exactly how this is created. Now, we're not going to go too deep into this right now because we're going to save that for another time. But this is the last object. So a view can be a bundle of information that's properly related to each other to create a report, to create a logical entity, to basically represent the information that is in the data in a consistent way for consumption. All right. Thank you guys so much. I hope this was a nice introduction to the basics of what's in a database. I'm super excited. All of the installing SQL Server and understanding the basics of what's in a database is what you kind of need to know, the groundwork of what you need in order to start writing your own queries. And we're going to be doing that in the next video. Super excited to go over that with you guys. I hope this made sense. I hope you understood these general objects, a database, a table, a field, a view, right? Schemas, primary and foreign keys. I hope those things made sense to you. I hope that you're able to at least kind of understand what they do because we're going to be using them in the subsequent videos. All right. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you guys joining in and watching this video. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share that with a family and friend that you might have. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what questions you might have. Thank you guys very much. Peace.